is such an interesting company. You've
What's your
built
name?
such an interesting company. What? My name
What's
is
your
Ryan.
name?
Pleasure. You have
Oh,
Ryan
Ryan.
D'Amato.
Nice to meet you,
Tell him a
Ryan.
little bit of your background, Ryan. He's a fundraiser for us, is what he does. He has a great track record. But go ahead, Ryan, tell him.
Well, I guess I started out as a scientist. I studied nuclear physics for the Navy, and somehow I got out of that and went into the mortgage banking industry before 2008. After 2008, the collapse happened. I got into high-level consulting just out of necessity because I had no other choice. When everything I ever did was real estate related, I somehow wound up going to in-ground assets. I've been in technology. My most recent company was a Bitcoin mining company out of Missouri last year. Unfortunately, Bitcoin didn't exactly go the way that it should. But yeah, I bought and sold a bunch of different companies. I've been in aviation, you name it. I've always had a diverse background. But yeah, like what Mark said, is I'm part of the family office community. I grew up in New York City. So I've raised a lot of money for a lot of different companies. But nowadays, I try to do things for only companies that I'm deeply involved with. And I've decided to jump into the family that Mark's creating here. So happy to assist, and the better I can, I can be of more service as long as I understand exactly what it is that we're aiming at. I did have a couple of questions from yesterday's presentation related to the timing of how this technology is being implemented, because I know that there's certain variations from the shocks, to the ability to actually charge the car with its own engine. So yeah, anything that I could learn would be a great place for me to start, because I am not super familiar.
Okay, I'll cover that last then. All right, did you make me a co-host, Mike?
Yeah, you are.
I'm a co-host. Yeah, so just to make sure that we all are looking at, I'll say, the technology piece for next. But let's look at, I can share my screen, right? Yeah, can everybody see the screen?
5x5. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, so I just want to go over this to make sure that we all understand like what we're doing with this. So what we want to sell here is, first, before we can sell, I want to make sure that everybody understands how to explain this in a concise manner. All right. So, Exeter Fleet is the corporate company, right? That's the company that we're going to be taking public. So the first division that's coming out of Exeter is Exeter Lux. So the thought process here, as I put back on this slide, is we're going to be the only service that actually owns our whole entire ecosystem. So while we have an app, like Uber and others, or Lyft and all these guys, those guys don't make the vehicles that they use, right? And certainly the guys who sell trucks and bikes to these app companies certainly don't own the app either. So we actually going to own the whole ecosystem. So as a business model, I think this is a little bit different. So we own the app, which the app is going to have evaluation of its own, separate and apart from each one of these businesses, and also separate from fleet and the making of the trucks. So actually, we're running like a parallel strategy just inside one division of the company. So I want to make sure that everybody, grasps that concept. We're going to be breaking out and talking about the app in its own investor presentation because it produces its own revenue exactly the same way that Uber does. So the Uber app, is worth some $70-something billion. And so if our app hit 1/10 of that, then it would have that type of value. Now, of course, you can look at the valuations of Lucid and Polestar and all these guys who have an electric vehicle product. And certainly we're going to have an electric vehicle product that we're making money on the initial sale. And also we're making money on the usage of that business. And then on top of that, we're going to have ownership in the businesses that actually operate on the app using our vehicles. So I think that's that's a unique business model that we really have to, and maybe Francis can help with that too. We really have to be able to explain that and flesh that out and actually show all the potential of what we're going to be doing there. And certainly, one drives the other. And so as we start to understand how one drives the other, then I think our presentations are going to start to have more potency to them, right? So, but looking at the Lux piece, right? So Lux owns the app, right? The app's already built. We're just having to make minor changes for it because we built the app as a global logistics app to follow trucks and that kind of thing, on their routes. But it doesn't matter what a app is following, whether that car, if Uber passenger service, if you look at their Uber Freight app, they're basically the same. Same functionality. They have different representations. On one, they're showing you a little car. On one, they're showing you a big truck. But the apps have the same functionality, and that's no different than our app. So our app looks just like an Uber app because all you're doing is requisitioning the movement of a vehicle from one place to another. It doesn't matter if it's carrying things or carrying people, right? So effectively, our app is going to scrape 15% of all the revenues that are made, right? So actually, that's actually held by Exceeder Fleet. So we're scraping 15% off the top, and then 85% go down to our business partner, right? But what would have happened at this point? For this business partner to be in effect, we would already have sold them trucks and made a profit on them. So we would already have made a profit at this point. So now, if they bought 10 trucks, then we probably made $100,000 already before these trucks are assigned to the app, right? So now these businesses, they actually come over here and we're going to be able to operate these businesses. 10 trucks should probably be worth, I mean, you guys don't know this yet, but you'll find out pretty soon. 10 trucks are going to produce somewhere around $2.5 million in sales. And so if we were selling this business at 5 to 20 times its revenue or whatever, then I think we can easily see that this business that we set up for 100,000 can easily be worth a few $1 million, right? And so as we understand and look at this, then we understand all the different ways that we can sell trucks. Now, the great thing about Lux is just, I should have Exceeder Fleet here because Exceeder Fleet is what we're going to talk about next, this long list of companies that we can just sell trucks to that have nothing to do with our app. So we have that line of business, and then we have the whole line of business, whether we're working through the Visa program or whatever, to get people to buy trucks to put into Exceeder Lux. So I just want to make sure that everybody, understands this visual. So all we're saying here is we have a business model that's already developed. Our trucks are already developed. So we're not asking people to believe anything. The truck's already made. We can make 200 of these trucks a week. The model validation, really right now, it may appear to you that we haven't validated this yet, but I'm just telling you, I've been in the temporary staffing business for 40 years. I've been doing this for 40 years. I already know what the trucks are going to make. Like I said, as soon as we get this first group of trucks here, then everybody is going to know. And so basically, the concept has already been validated. You can go to the App Store right now and download the Exceeder app. Now, we pulled it down to make these modifications, but you can still see the app. It just won't let you check in because we can't update the app at the same time while it's in the store. But people can see a visualization. You can see the quality of the app just as soon as you download it. And so, we spent $125,000 developing that app already. So it's already completed. So anybody who's looking at us as a business, the seed round for the app is already done because the app's already built and is already in the Apple Store, which most companies would be raising $500,000 to $1.5 million, $2 million just to accomplish what we've done already. So that money is spent. If somebody was going to be in the business of selling trucks, they would already have invested, $5 to $11 million to develop that truck. That's done already, right? So the people who are coming in at this point, everything is built. And basically the business model, let's just say it's been pre-validated by me, but it'll certainly be validated, by all in the first couple of months of operation. So where we are right now is truck is built, app is built, business model is established and being verified. And so people get to come in now at this point. And even at this point, not that we don't have an opportunity for you to invest as an investor, but from our standpoint, if we do a good job of selling these trucks, we don't even need any investors, because you can they really can just invest here in these businesses. And actually we could fund the whole company here without even giving away any equity at all, except to maybe the first initial people who come in just as an incentive. So I think even looking at raising money for the company is one thing that we want to do, but we can look at that separate and apart from the money that we're going to make simply by building out a nationwide all electric airing and delivery service. And so, and that's the way we have to just talk about EXHI Deluxe. The airing and delivery service business already exists. So we're not creating anything new there. There are courier services, there's Uber, there's all these guys. Our messaging is simply that all that movement right now is done on a gas powertrain. All we're doing there. Go ahead.
No, please. I apologize for interrupting. That blue box is really hard for me to see. I mean, I got the whole flow.
This one?
No, the square one right there, the darker blue one. If you could just hit that one real quick, because that's hard for me to see. I see something about 20K or whatever.
Okay, so we're saying that at this point, we're setting up multi-million-dollar businesses that are sellable for 5 to 20 times their revenue, while retaining 20% ownership in all those businesses.
Got it. Thank you for clarifying that. Got it.
Yeah, it's just that this thing only lets you make it so big at some point before it goes off the thing. Yeah, we can't make it much bigger.
Yeah,
but it's easy to see if you have it in front of you. So,
yeah.
So any questions like about this page here? Now, the great thing to me about using this chart is we're also explaining, like I explained on the call yesterday. If you look at everything that we're doing, there's very little wonderment here, right? We're even developing our own customer base. So whereas Polestar and Lucid and all these guys, they're building a car, they're going out into the market, running TV commercials or whatever they're doing, trying to compete against already existing entrenched companies to try to gain some market share. I think Lucid is burning through $7 billion a year. So these guys are burning through lots of money. They're getting no traction at all. I mean, why would we go and do that? Doesn't make sense, right? And we wouldn't win that battle. So what we're really doing is using this visa program to create our own customer pool. And having the app creates our own customer pool. So in building this business model, we create demand for the usage of our low-speed electric truck to operate this business. So there is no competition. Americans may catch on slow, but certainly the people who are applying for visas, they want to come to America. If it was a hot dog stand, they would take it anyway. And we're actually giving them a really, really viable business. Another great thing about the visa programs, you think about it, this business works. This business is going to be national and international. It works anywhere. So if you're an immigrant, it's not like you have to take this restaurant in Detroit when you would rather be in Florida, or you would rather be in Washington, D.C., where your family is. So an immigrant can literally come into this business and operate it in all 50 states. And to us, it's just the same. I think that's a really unique, point that we all have to remember. And so now, we have our own immigration lawyer, but I have another friend that's signing on named Igor, and he specializes in visas from the Eastern Bloc, and he's as excited as we are. So everybody's looking for a viable business to be able to come into America and operate. EXHI Deluxe is certainly going to be that. And as the founders of this company, I mean, we're just profiting every step of the way. So we have any questions about this? I mean, could you guys walk somebody through this? or if it's something that's not clear, I can make it clear for you now. And if
I-
we need
I
to make
had-
adjustments to this, then I can make adjustments.
I had one question. When you were using the multiples for a sale in the end, you said 5 to 20 times revenues. Wouldn't that be earnings or revenues?
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I guess I should have said earnings.
Okay. I mean, is that
Probably three to 7 times sales and probably 5 to 20 times earnings, right?
yeah, I mean, I've never sold a business in that in that niche to know what the multiples would be for that niche.
Well, we can Google that. So we could look at what are the multiples for. I think for our business, though, it's unique enough that we can almost set our own multiple. And since we have the inducement of a United States visa, I mean, if we operate the company and it's doing $200,000 in the first 4 months, I think we could extrapolate to say that, over a period of time, this business, and right now this business only has 5 trucks, but we have a plan for this business to have 25 trucks. And this is the revenue when we get to that 25. And I'm already proving to you the revenue on the 5. I believe we'll be able to sell these businesses. We'll be able to set these businesses up for 100,000 and sell them for 2 or 3 million.
The difference
so
with
the-
the app, sorry, when we're dealing with an app, you can get numbers like that. So it's no problem.
Yeah.
It's no problem.
Plus, it's just the business. If I have 5 trucks and 5 trucks make 100,000 consistently, then I already know what I'm going to make if I have 25 trucks. So we actually going to sell the business partly on what we've shown, but we're going to tell people we've only been operating this for 5 months, but look at these numbers. But this is where the business is going. So I think we will be able to get quite the multiple on these businesses. If I'm an immigrant and I come in and I look at the books and I saw somebody made, $500,000 in 3 months. Okay, then I'm going to multiply that and say, boom, I'm going to make that if I keep doing exactly what they're doing. And if we add 10 more trucks, then this business is going to do X. I'm going to buy that business at that multiple. I don't think this is going to be a hard thing. You know what I mean? I mean, if there's pushback, I mean, you can push back.
No, but that's a soft number. We could always change it. It's not as important. Now it's a story to be able to do it.
It's just going to show that because one of the ways that we are financing trucks is I'm offering a sale and leaseback contract for these trucks, whereas an investor can buy the truck, right? And then then we'll lease that truck from him for payments. So now we could take that investor's truck and put it into this business. Now, all he's promised is lease payments. And when he gets his lease payments back, then we buy that truck or we take that truck for $1 or $1,000 or whatever. So we have that way of selling trucks. And what we're saying in that situation, we're telling someone, okay, you give us 10 trucks or 5 trucks. Let's just say 5 trucks. That's $125,000, let's say. We're going to take those 5 trucks and put them in a business. We're going to operate that business for 4 months to come up with real numbers. And then we're going to sell that business for $700,000, $800,000, $1 million. So that investor can profit from the lease payments on his truck, but he can also profit on the sale or someone investing in that business. So I think that's the way I'm trying to design this. I think if we design it that way, it becomes like very, 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 very attractive. I think it could be a real growth mechanism for us.
I got a quick
because the
question.
numbers.
I'm sorry. Can you throw
Go ahead.
numbers on that just so we're all on the same page? Because I've seen some of the numbers, the other people aren't. And then what percentage you would say if this guy's buying from that side, if you don't mind.
So this is the way the business looks on the ground. Okay, so I have a couple of scenarios here, like a great scenario, a realistic scenario, and a lowercase scenario. But in general, I can just tell you from this business, the reason I don't want to use the electric trucks to carry people, it's too much liability. And actually, until you get really, really, really big, you just lose money. When you do this concierge model, you're making money out the gate because you're just not going to move for less than $50. I mean, we give the example when we do a presentation from our office. We ask somebody to pull out their phone and go to the Uber app and see how much it would cost for them to go from our office to the closest Walmart. And it was like $10.20. But with our app, if we left my office to go to that Walmart, we'd be going to pick up a flat screen TV or a refrigerator or something like that. And we'd be charging probably 85 to 120 bucks for that same trip. So same trip, different type of car, 5-10 times the revenue. So that's what the concierge business does for you. If you have a Tesla or a car and I need 4 kegs of beer, I can't send a Tesla to pick up 4 kegs of beer. So one of the main things that I use, and it seems to work for me pretty well, is I just challenge people. Let's just say what I just said. I need 4 kegs of beer brought to my office for a party. Get those kegs to my office from a mile away without using gas. Explain to me how you would do that. Of course, nobody can. You literally can't move 4 kegs of beer 2 miles unless you have an electric golf cart of the right size. Maybe you could do it. But I mean, in general, right now, everything of any size is moved on a gas powertrain, right? So as we explain to people, the government is mandating you to go to an electric drivetrain. They really can't. If you're delivering 4 chairs or if a hospital is picking up 3 wheelchairs, they're not going to fit in the back of Mark's Tesla. So you're going to have to get a U-Haul truck, a pickup truck of some type. Now, if they go and get a Ford F-150 Lightning, of course they can do that. But the entry point for that truck is $70,000, and the entry point for our truck is $24,000. So even in that argument, we still have an advantage. But just look at the numbers. So we're just saying here that a guy's in our truck, and he's doing about 2 jobs an hour. He's going to pick up beer, picking up chairs, doing whatever. At 50 bucks, he's going to do about 16 things that day and make $800. In 25 days, that's $25,000 a month. I mean, that's $20,000 a month. So in my model, now, of course, whoever's running the business gets to decide these numbers. But Derek Automotive, we try to be a high wage employer. So I like to pay the frontline people a lot of money. Now, $14,000 is certainly too much for a provider that's in a truck. And I don't think any business partner is going to do that, but I just wanted to show that the money is there. And then I divided out that we actually need people to go out and call on corporate accounts. And so I have them baked in. I have them baked in as well. And I pay them 5% of the business created from the accounts that they bring in. Now, of course, our local partner, is getting 20. So the business that we started with us and our local partner, we're actually keeping 25%. But if you add this 25% to the 15% that the app has already taken, you see, we're actually getting 40%. And so with this $15,000, it's very easy to pay the lease payment to the guy who invested in that business. Now, we could treat this guy just as a guy who's getting his lease payments and he's getting his return that way. Or we can make that guy who put these trucks in a part of that business. It's just up to us. These are all business decisions. Depends on who we're talking to, who we want to be in business with, how we want to be in business with them. So these are all decisions, that we can make. Now, here's what happens when you run this business correctly. I can take this 16 jobs and make it easily 24, 35, 36 jobs, because this is what I used to do when I was in the concierge business, right? So I'm at an apartment complex. It's got 200 units. I would do something structurally like every day. So like every day, that at 6 o'clock, I'm at the Trader Joe's. You see what I mean? Or I'm at here, or I'm at there. And we send out a blast to the tenants. Concierge is boom. What do you need? So actually, I'm not coming back with 3 orders. I'm coming back with 12 and 16. You'd just be surprised. And so what I do is instead of everybody paying $50, now they're all paying $18 or $17. But on that one run, I'm not making $70. I'm making $240 on that one run. So this is the way the business works. So, there's a lot to know about how to execute the business, but in general terms, and what Mark liked about this presentation, let's just say we have a guy in a truck and he's napping all day. He just does one thing per hour. He makes one trip to pick up a flat screen TV or something like that in an hour. That truck is still making $10,000 a month. So when you understand these numbers, you understand why we have an 8-year warranty on this truck. We don't want this truck to break. We don't want it in the shop. We want it out on the road 24 hours a day if we could. So even then, you would still have all your numbers breaking down. We're still making $2,500 a month on that truck, plus the 15 that we took from the app. It's very easy to make those lease payments. So I believe we can build a whole off-book financing company by instead of going to banks or until we can qualify for the banks and the investment funds. We could probably do a great job of getting local investors who want to invest in these trucks, give them to us to operate on a sale leaseback agreement, for a high interest rate to compensate for the risk. And well, we know it works because, Steve and I have already booked some of these our first week of pitching it. And so we've been getting a very, very positive response. And we have a bunch of people coming into the office today to look at the same opportunity. So hopefully, that gives, especially like Ryan, this is your first time, just an idea of how the numbers work, right? So then it's just a matter of duplication. So this is just one truck. So what we're talking about in our standard model, we're talking about putting 4 to 5 trucks in every business that we set up. So then this would actually be 5 times this, right? So we would actually be making right here around 30,000 that month, plus what we took from the app. And this guy, if he did all 5 trucks, would be getting about $7,500 a month. So this could just be a beautiful thing if we pitch this right and and we go at the business correctly. So I think we're all investors. I don't think any of us are getting these types of returns right now. And when you consider that this guy has a UC filing against the truck, so he has the truck as his collateral, and whatever other concessions we'd have to make to induce them, and especially if they are part of the business, then they're getting both their lease payments and they're getting whatever percentage that we give them in the business for bringing those trucks in. So, any questions about that?
I do have a question. From an outside investor standpoint, I see 2 issues to be able to overcome, right?
Okay.
One is hiring the people to be able to ride in the truck, right? That's what. Let me throw both out, and then you can answer them. One is obviously staffing the truck to be able to do the business.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing of it is I get this on a small scale, with you being the lead charge on it, from bandwidth standpoint. But when you get to the point with the bandwidth, how can we scale that out? Or how do I know I'm getting 4 trucks? I get it. You're doing it now on a short-term basis, but when you get 100 trucks, 200 trucks, 300, or even businesses out there, how does that scale? And how do they know that they're going to continue to get that in? But please go ahead.
Well, number one, how does it scale? My expertise comes from being in the staffing industry. You got staffing partners all over the country in every place. If you call up a staffing agency and you tell them what you're looking for, they're going to send you people. Number 2, every state runs an unemployment database. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go into that database and you're looking for ethnic workers, right? And then I have a training program that I've been using for years that I would certainly share with all of our suppliers. So everybody is going to be putting the people that we recruit through a tailored training program. This is not rocket science. If you get someone as a partner who's worked at a hotel, they understand customer service. You get a guy who's driven, you got to dress him up, teach him a little things that we teach in the training. Finding workers is not hard. And don't forget, part of our explanation is that's why we have a visa program. I made all the money in staffing because I didn't have a single fucking American workers. I started off using Cambodians, and then I went to Vietnamese, and I went to Chinese, then I went to Africans. I tried Indians, but Indians don't work. So basically I built my whole staffing agency on ethnic labor. So for me to now be doing an immigrant visa program just makes sense because I understand that labor without opportunity, and you give them opportunity, you have a labor force that sticks like cement. They're not going anywhere. They're going to do just what you say. They're honest. They work hard. They're going to keep the trucks clean the way we ask them to. Believe me, this is not hard. I can teach anybody who has a little customer service background how to run this business. I could open up, I mean, we could easily open up, 5, 6, 10, 20 offices at a time, and it wouldn't be a problem. And I can tell you, staffing people, it's not going to be any harder than staffing Uber, except this, you're going to make more money. So Steve and I had a guy come in who has like, what do you have, like 16 Uber cars or something like that?
Yeah.
So even Uber guys, most of them are driving gas cars. They get their business and they put a third of that money in their gas tank. They're making money, but they could be making more money. And so as we explain this to guys, they're equally excited. People are already in the business. I don't know if I answered that question for you, but I don't see scaling as that much of a problem if there's capital. The only limitation is capital. And so if we tell the story correctly, then I think we can paint a picture where this looks like a relatively safe investment. Because if I'm financing a truck and I have title to the truck, I take my truck back. There's risk in all business.
Got it. And I think you said really a key phrase in there. Back for the Uber driver that's actually, and that's not necessarily our target today, but a third of their money is going in gas. That's more profit for them to do. So my own thought of it is not right now is how we can quantify it to where it actually not only is it profitable, but it pays for itself based where they are today. So I think that, I think that's
we've made the first step in taking care of that by ordering these first trucks. When we get these first trucks and we operate them, all these final little questions are going to be taken care of.
Got it. Okay.
You know what I mean? Because nobody is going to listen to me anymore. They're just going to listen to the data.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions about that? So does everybody understand how that worked and more so how to explain it? And does everybody have this presentation? Because if not, Mike can make sure that you guys get it.
I'm not sure if we do or not. It'd be good if all the decks should be showing up in Basecamp.
Oh yeah, they are. I think Mike has put them all in Basecamp, and if not, we'll make sure that
I got a question, right? Since what we're doing is trying to target an area, right, and we're trying to get the E2 visa, right, and are we just going to go do one presentation in one location in one day, or should we just be having like a half hour or 45-minute program pre-recorded, pay a local station over there in Medellin to play it for 1 month, and we just hit it up there, and then we say, okay, we're going to be showing up at this place if you're interested, and then we see who's interested, but we present the E and we present your business at the same time. We get the interest up and going by being on television.
I agree with you 100%.
Huh?
I agree with you 100%.
Because otherwise, we're going to be
we should absolutely be doing that. And like I said earlier with the other presentation, I think one of the biggest messages is you can launch this business wherever you want. So literally, just like I think Mark set up 4 or 5 companies last week, he could have set those companies up anywhere in the country, and we can operate these businesses anywhere in the country. And so that family can live anywhere in the United States that they so choose.
Who scripts this presentation? Because the ideal thing would be to do this presentation, have a number flashing there, where they're calling that local number in, or whatever number is, so that then we're already in a bit. We're already, we're lining them up for the close. The close is when we get to whatever destination we got, unless we close earlier. But it's going to be hard to close online when we're asking so much money, especially with these guys. But if we get the interest up ahead of time by doing this presentation, we may be able to close 2 or 3 businesses without even going over there.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think one of the things. Well, I think you and Umberto and I, could get together and certainly come up with a strip and make a video and that type of thing. But I think one of the things that's going to help this too is that everybody's working through their lawyer. So basically, what we're doing is we're making immigration attorneys a part of our sales force.
Yep.
Right. Their job really is to keep their clients safe and to get their clients into a viable investment in order to secure that visa. So as we're able to explain the business to immigration attorneys, I think we're going to have just a slew of them. I have a friend in Philadelphia who specializes in Eastern in Eastern European countries. And he was excited about the whole thing, as we are. It's one thing about this business. Most of like this guy, because he's Russian, a lot of Russians are in the courier business already. So it's a business that they understand. And so they come here. If you call up a car transport company and have a car transported, you're going to get an Eastern European guy on the phone, because when they come, they're looking for these practical type businesses that make a lot of money, right? And so they understand these types of delivery and errand businesses. It's just that they operate the business at a regular, what I call a blue collar level. And we're going to operate this business at more of an elevated concierge level. So, and we just moving that to an electric drivetrain. So people understand these types of businesses. So I believe my friend's name is Igor. He's going to kill in the Eastern Bloc, because all these guys, when they come here, most of them are working for driving services or some type of courier service anyway. And all we're saying is we're going to electrify that business. And I think everybody knows that the government's going to force everyone to an electric drivetrain. So I think that's not going to be too difficult of a sale.
No, I agree with you, but what I was trying to get at is, everybody's got an e-visa. I could explain the visa, but then the problem is, what's the business? That's the biggest concern, is what the business, what the hell do I know how to do this and stuff like that. That's what I was saying. If we could do the presentation and blast it on local television next to by their news channel, whenever they have that news thing, because that's going to be the ones we want, are the ones who are looking at the news, because they're worried about hit them at that time. And I think if we could hit them at that time, right, those are the right people. Those are the ones we're going for. We're going to the ones to look at the business. We're not looking to look at a novella. They got no reason to come to the United States. They're happy in their misery. We want the ones who want to take their goddamn money out, and those are the guys who are watching the local news, is what I think. Now, the good thing about that is, because at that time period, that time slot, the TV time should be very, very cheap, I imagine, because it's cheap over here. I could only imagine it's cheaper over there. And these countries, Eastern Bloc they're probably giving it away. In Colombia, they're probably, we probably can get a nice little rate to go this, and we just blast it once a week for 4 weeks before we go there.
Oh yeah, I would agree with all that. So I mean, we can certainly develop the marketing material, but I think when you look at it in practical terms, the United States has about 3,400 municipalities, yeah. And I guarantee you, on any given day, there are 3 or 4 million people looking for visas. I mean, so 0.5% is who we would have to attract. And I think we're going to build a model here that's going to be pretty attractive. I don't think we're going to have a problem attracting 0.5% to our business opportunity. So what you see here is I'm trying to develop a bank of presentations that will cover pretty much everything. So this presentation is basically, I'm working on this one. I'm going to be explaining how we take trucks, put them into a business, and explain the process of how we operate that business. And then we sell that business or invite an investor in, because I'm just comparing it to flipping houses, because it's very similar. When you flip houses, they say you find, you finance, you flip. This is the same thing. So, we're establishing, operating, and flipping it out. Very easy comparison to real estate, makes it very simple. The snapshot that we were just looking at. But then I'm looking at making a presentation already for retailers, right? So we can start using these presentations to hit the Walmarts, the BJs, the whole deal. And with these presentations, we're just going on basic corporate responsibility. Major corporations are going to be mandated, to take some of these steps. Your customers are concerned about climate change. You know what I mean? So going electric, it's going to improve your brand image. It's going to enhance the customer experience. It's going to promote environmental sustainability, cost savings because you get rid of gas. The government's going to make you do it anyway. It's all operated through a simple mobile app. How it works, boom, 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 like real easy. The additional benefits to the retailer, like real easy. Then we explain the truck. We're letting people know that if you don't have charging infrastructure, we have a partner that can install our chargers anywhere in the country, right? So that's not an issue for us. So if the charging station is not there, we'll have it. And then, of course, reach out. So all the presentations are kind of similar. Once you understand the overall concept, it's no different between a retailer, and then we want to go after what I call campus mobility, which would also include like security guard firms. So I'm saying we want to revolutionize campus mobility, right? So we talk about the truck, talk about the benefits of low-speed trucks, and we want to revolutionize campus mobility. It's the price of the truck, and so we talk about maintenance. So everybody who we talk to, station changes slightly, but it's still the basic same messaging. Right. So any type of presentation that you think you need for any specific audience, we can take from these basic slides, and then we can tailor a slide specifically for a security guard firm or specifically for a college or a university. And so that's the way, I'm trying to go at that. We also have a presentation for apartment buildings and people like that. Right. So the conversation is still the same. The green way forward for Class A commercial developments. We would certainly be running this in Florida. And the same example that I gave you guys before, move 3 of these chairs 2 miles without using gas. Most people, they think about it for a few minutes and they're on board right away. I get it. Yeah, you can't do it. Okay, so we provide the truck and the app to do it. Very upscale service, upscale presentation of how we're going to have our workers dressed and things like that, right? Same thing in this use cases. You can't get these plants into the back of a Tesla. You know what I mean? So we'll make sure that all these and everything, as I develop them, Mike will put them all on Basecamp. I'm actually doing this. I'm working on this. This is just going to be a marketing guide for you guys. If you call this company, this is what you say. If you call this company, this is what you say. So that's basically what we're going to put here. So I'm going to have broken out into all the people that we're after, and then I'll connect the presentations that apply to it and tell you what to say on the telephone. I call it my corporate speech document. So I'll break it out into this is what you say in 30 seconds. This is what you say in 60 seconds. And then this is your presentation. I think if we all start to digest this and be able to talk about this as fluently as I do, then, we're going to be able to put this growth process on steroids.
So can you export those into PowerPoint?
Yeah, I'll export them all into PowerPoint for you, and we'll put those on Basecamp as well.
Okay, because I have a heavy hitter coming in tomorrow. The other thing too is that I know you have all day and you're not doing anything all day, so you have a lot of time. Is taking the presentations that are done and because no one has the knowledge and expertise you do.
Yeah, I'm going to do a voiceover for all of them.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. Then we got a video. Now we can start sending those videos out for that particular one, and obviously website we can post them out there, and then we can obviously strip out the voice and send that out as well, as even though it's not a video presentation. So whatever ones
so we're going to be working on that this week. We had that on the list this week to get some voiceovers on all these. So what we need. So I was thinking, my list of who we should be trying to talk to. I had security, just like Dave had, security firms that operate on campuses. Of course, I had colleges, and when we go to the college, we're looking at their maintenance department and their security department as well. I love colleges because the average college campus is what, a mile wide. I mean, and maybe they have like a little local town that they operate in. These guys, when you walk around the campus, they're trash cans. And if you go there early in the morning, you'll see these guys out there with big trucks just pulling trash. It's just all these little things that happen early in the morning that nobody sees. All these things are being done on a gas powertrain that could be done on an electric powertrain. So I think procurement departments at colleges and universities or whatever is low-hanging fruit. Real estate developers do the same thing. Shopping malls, they have trash cans, they have tools, they have lawnmowers, they got weed blowers, they have all these things that they're carrying and they usually have a crew of guys, and it's usually 3 or 4, and that's why I made our truck have a back seat. Because being in the business, I understand that you're probably going to have 4 landscapers, and all the guys can hop in and go where they have to go. None of these people are operating any more than a 5 or 10 mile radius, because they're either on campus or slightly off campus. And so having a truck is better than a golf cart, because when you have to go out into the city streets, you can actually keep up with traffic, because our trucks, that's why we made the trucks go 50 miles. Football stadiums, baseball stadiums. So if we have any friends or developers who have baseball stadiums, there are trash vendors there, there are cleaning departments there. These guys have lots of suppliers who work at that stadium. So not only can the stadium own trucks, but all of their vendor lists. So we probably want to start getting Chamber of Commerce books to see who's in the Chamber of Commerce and what businesses they do. And if these businesses have to pick up, carry, move trash, move security, then we need to start reaching out to these businesses saying that we can help them move to an electric drivetrain. Golf courses, same. They're moving clubs, bags, all types of things. Everybody outside of their golf carts. The guys will have the golf carts with those little beds on the back. But of course, a pickup truck can carry more. And the price difference is not that much. A good golf cart is going to cost you $15,000 to $17,000 for the little 4-seater with the thing on the back. If you put those little things on the back, they cost like an extra $1,000 or so. So a golf cart's at $17,000, and we're at 20-something thousand, and you have a capacity to do more. So I think golf carts, certainly airports, local, big ones, small ones. They're moving baggage and all these kind of things around the campus. So airports should definitely be on your list. Of course, anybody who has friends in city government, especially if these little small, quaint little towns that are only 5 or 10 miles wide anyway. So certainly guys in the gas department could go from driving gas cars to electric cars. Most of them are not driving 100 miles a day or 150 miles a day. We can also install charging stations for these towns. So we have a complete service. We want to keep that in mind. Right. And then what I'm going to start doing next is I'm going to come up with a program for used car dealers. So they have a new car product, which is something that they never have an opportunity for. Right. Because Toyota and these kind of guys, they don't sell anything to used car dealers. So we could take this whole network of used car dealers and actually give them a product that's geared towards a specific industry. And not only that, these guys can, do the titling for us and stuff like that. So we give them a little profit line in there. And for a used car dealer, if they can make $1,000, $1,200, they're happy as shit. And so then all over the country, we have somebody who can clear the titles, and we can make them all hold inventory, especially as we get the visa program going. We could say, if you want to be a dealer, you have to hold, 10 or 15 trucks at all time. That's going to elevate our sales, and that's certainly going to help fleet stock. Right. So I think we should be doing that. So that's what I had. That's what I had on my list so far. So within each one of those categories, there's going to be a range of companies' names that we can pull out. And like I said, if we create an exhaustive list and get the contact, then we can all call. But I have some people who are great on the telephones, and we can just start knocking these things down. If we start calling on companies like this, then this first 100, 200 trucks is going to be easy. And if we sell 200 trucks, we're going to sell 2,000. It's just going to happen as we start to operate our errand and delivery service. The other errand services are not just going to stand still. They're going to be looking for a truck too, because they have to compete with us. Mm-hmm. So what are their choices? They can go buy a Ford F-150 Lightning for $70,000, or they can come to Fleet and buy our truck, which we're happy to sell to them. So you see, that's the way I look at the business. So owning the whole ecosystem, it's going to be good. And of course, some of those guys who are in that business already, they may want to break away from their boss who doesn't pay them anything and get on our app, and make more money. So, I just see the future is bright. Of course, that's my job. But I think as you guys listen to how this thing operates, either it makes a lot of sense to you or it doesn't. Hopefully it does, because if it does, then it'll start, putting off the bells in your own brain, because all this business is laying around all you guys. You walk past it every day. You just haven't thought about it in this context.
No, agreed. I think it's great. So what's our takeaway as far as what we need to get done as far as before the next Thursday meeting?
Yeah. So the takeaway here is we want to come back with who are your low-hanging fruit in these categories. So if we can all come back with a list of 25, 30 companies that we want to reach out to and start to contact. So we can have who's the company, here's their contact, what is it that we should be selling them? If you want, Michael, make a form, send out to everybody, and we can just start listing who we want to go after. If we have natural contacts, great. If we don't, then we can actually have people fish that information out. So I think we should be looking at both, low-end sales to individuals, but also let's think about what fleets. I mean, nothing stops us from calling Papa John's or whatever and telling them that they could be just like Domino's. Domino's made this little car with the pizza in the back. Okay, we can give these guys something similar. Nothing stops us from upfitting the back of these trucks with warmers or coolers or whatever. We're going to be doing that anyway. I was going to cover that with you guys another time. The other ways that we can use these trucks. So I can tell you, I'm already talking to Martin about building me a truck with wine and beer on the back that could just be pulled out to a catering thing where you can just walk up. We could build it in. They're going to build one with a coffee service. So I could take a guy and send him out to construction sites to sell coffee and donuts in the morning. When you're in this business, this is like a hustle business. This is a hustle business. There's so many ways to take one of these trucks and make money.
We need one of those trucks with the wine and beer at Area 142, Ryan. I've got to hop off the call. I've got another call starting right now.
Yeah, we're done anyway. Okay.
All right, I'll catch you guys later.
Okay, we'll see.
So you'll hit those PDFs for me because I just want to, are the PowerPoints, because I just want to have the combine a presentation because I got a heavy hitter coming in tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. I'll send you all those right now. I think you have which ones do you have already?
Well, I'm looking for
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint.
Say it again.
Yeah, I just need the one, so I'm just part of it. The key points from just EXHI is just like 3 or 4 slides, then your piece into it, just to be able to tie it like into one platform. And then the other thing we want to be thinking about is we got that other group of about 50 or whatever that amount is to be able to do that other presentation, the people I gave 1,000 shares to.
Yeah, okay.
This week, I want to do it this week. And I'm hoping to be able to have a size presentation for that. That's all.
All right. So just before we leave, I wanted to get back to Ryan. So the timing here, Ryan. So basically, Mark, just bought the wheel motor and the shock to us a month or so ago. We believe that the shock can move the fastest. Number one, we actually have wheel motor technology of our own that's better than what EXHI has. So unless we get some kind of redo on that, because we would have to fix that. And so unless there's some technology sharing, we already have a wheel motor that's better than that. But the shock absorber has real potential, not just we're going to have Martin put that shock absorber on the pickup truck first. It's going to be a very easy installation because the pickup truck's operating system is so simple. That's something that we could probably have done by Christmas. But we also going to ask them to get with our guy in Florida. I think that shock absorber will work great on our bike. This purple bike that you see right here, these bikes, you got 2 shocks up front, but there's a shock under the seat. And that shock under the seat is where you're going to get all the action. And if this is a dirt bike and you're out there, in a dirt bike situation or whatever, something like that, this is where this shock. So this shock is I think it's going to be have great. We have to make it for that size, but you have a much smaller battery, and I think that shock could have a good impact in one of these bikes. And so we're going to have Martin look at that, but I think an easy install, because I know you guys are thinking about putting that shock on a Tesla. Don't forget, you have to integrate. It's not just a matter of putting it on the car. You have to integrate it with the car's battery management system. That's the hard part. And that's what's going to take forever. The operating system on this truck is very simple. and it'd be very easy to integrate it with this pickup truck. And so what I'm also doing is I'm having the factory put me another inverter on the truck so that I can just plug in a solar panel. I'm going to put a solar panel on the roof to run the interior cabin, air conditioning, wipers, and things like that. So since we're launching in Florida, we know it's going to be hot as shit. So these guys are going to want to run their air conditioner all day, and I want that pulling on the battery. So we're going to put a solar panel on top, which should be sufficient to run the interior cabin, and then the battery will use all of its power just to keep the truck moving all day. So we'll be when the truck gets here, we'll be doing the solar panel. It'll be ready for us to hook the solar panel up to it when it gets here, and then everything else. Just to answer Ryan's question, I think it's going to be like a Christmas present, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did I
thanks
answer
for the clarification.
Ryan? Did I answer your question, Ryan?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I guess so. Yeah, I would like to see, and again, Christmas is a good target. But I if any of these presentations have like what the technology is now and how its potential to evolve, because I saw some of these numbers. I forget how many miles total. It was 135 miles that it can currently get now?
Well, that's the truck. When we put the Proteus on it, don't forget, all the Proteus does, our core technology, that generator, all it does is convert gas to electricity. So
yeah, but I'm
the
sure
first model, I can send you a presentation on that. We built the first prototypes ourselves, so they were very big. But now we have that down to 13 inches. So Martin is on track to deliver us the first 500 of those units again, sometimes around Christmas, slightly thereafter. So we would have 500 units. So we'd be able to demonstrate a truck with the Proteus in it, which I see the shocks and all these other things. The wheel motors could be significant because these wheel motors have the potential to put out enough power that you don't need anything when you get those done. But that's probably another year or so of development. The shocks can help, but they don't replace. So in a commercial standpoint, what we have to make sure is that this truck can continue to move. So if, we're going to put a 2-gallon gas tank on this thing, and this truck, may get 2,000 miles.
Yeah, it dramatically improves the lifespan without needing to charge it. I think that's the winning play, if I had to say.
Yeah, and that's another thing that we do too. The way we're doing this whole thing is we never let the battery cycle. So when we keep the battery between 40 and 75%, if a battery doesn't cycle, then theoretically, we haven't proven it yet, but theoretically, the battery could last 3 or 4 times longer, maybe even forever, because batteries lose their memory. And so if the battery doesn't cycle, we don't know what it's going to do, but all the scientists agree that the battery is certainly going to last a lot longer than normal if it is not allowed to cycle. But to me, there's technology, and then there is practical on the ground business every day. A guy who's operating a trucking service or delivery service, he really doesn't care about technology. All he wants to hear is, I'm going to cut my fuel costs by 2/3, and I'm not going to have to stop. And so that's what we're trying to deliver. Once we do that around Christmas time next year, then we'll be spending all our time talking about going after Rivian and these guys, because we'll then have a product that's going to outperform their product. So right now we have first generation. We have to sell first generation. We can't talk too much about the second generation because then people want to wait. So we don't want to create that situation, because don't forget, we're also in the retrofit business. And so we're going to be able to take this first generation of trucks and retrofit them with the Proteus anyhow, which we'll be getting government money for that. So, one business feeds into the next business. So, that's the way we have this design. If we can execute this whole thing properly, then, I think it's going to be good. So hopefully, everybody's leaving with a little bit better understanding of what we're doing and how to present this. We'll continue to go over it until everybody gets it down tight. And now let's just start developing our sales list, and then we can get a strategy to start going after these guys. I mean, I don't think there's a reason why we can't sell 100 trucks, by the end of July, for certain. So I think that should be our goal. And I think we may be able to do better, because if we get just one corporate account of some type, I could easily see universities and places like that, buying 3 or 4 trucks at a time, not one.
Oh, I actually do have a question. So the Exceeder brand, is that something like, let's say we approached a university or we approached, one of these medium-sized companies, they're probably going to want to, at the very least, co-brand.
Oh, sure. I'll brand the truck.
And that's no
like
problem.
I said, we're running the 2 different businesses. Exceeder is like Ford. So, and actually, you'll see in the next presentation, because we're getting ready to go after IKEA and these types of guys. For $8,000 a year, we'll brand the truck for them anyway. So it's just IKEA's all electric delivery service. But don't forget that advertising fee pays off the whole fucking truck.
So you would supply the trucks to them and just charge them $8,000 a year?
No, I charge you $8,000 to brand them. So one or two ways: they could buy the trucks for $24,000 and we'll brand it for you, or you pay the branding fee and our investors will put the truck there and run those deliveries. If we have an account with IKEA and that truck is going to make $2,000-3,000 a day. We don't even want IKEA to buy the truck unless they want to. We'll make more money by putting the trucks there as an investor, having them put signage in the store and letting customers know that IKEA now offers all electric delivery because they're such a forward-thinking company. I mean, I'll sell them the trucks if they make me sell them the truck, but I'd rather put the truck there as a service.
Got it. Okay.
You see what I mean? So hopefully, that's the way I want you guys to start thinking about this. When you have the tactical advantage here is the low-speed trucks are inexpensive to build. We're just building ours with a better quality than the little Chinese things. All right. So if you're making something for 10,000, I mean, almost why sell it? I mean, we want to sell some because we have to make money. But if we had investors, if we just had 1,000 trucks, I would just go to IKEA and everybody and say, let's do a deal. Give us in-store marketing, put us on your website. We'll say these are IKEA trucks and we'll operate them for you. And we take all that business because we know that these guys are doing 30 million a year in sales out of that store. Everything coming out of that store goes in the back of something. I mean, people try to stuff their little cars, but I guarantee you, if there were electric trucks out there and we make everybody feel guilty about driving that thing home on your gas powertrain, these trucks will just be busy all fucking day. They'll make so much fucking money. So let's get out there and sell that story.
Got it. Okay. Anybody else got any other questions?
All right, then. Yeah, we'll be doing this again Thursday. So yeah, let's make our list. Then we can start targeting presentations down, and then actually we can start doing voiceovers for that specific market segment, and then we can just start banging this thing out. If we get meetings, we're going to get sales. So first thing we have to do is start to get in front of purchasing agents. So let's get these meetings, and then we'll start making sales. I believe that we're going to have a 80-90% closing ratio. I mean, the government really is on corporations' ass to reduce their carbon footprint. And this new legislation that's coming out now, they're going to have tax incentives and all types of local incentives that the company's going to get for switching to an electric drivetrain. So this is going to be driven by the government. All the new policies are forcing corporations this way. We just happen to be the first people in the market with the low-speed electric truck and a low price point. Other than that, they have to go get a Rivian van, $130,000, or Ford F-150 Lightning, $70,000. You got a couple of other guys coming out with the electric pickup trucks, but they're all full speed and they all, cost above $50,000. There's not a single player in the market right now with a low-speed electric truck except us. That's why we have to blaze fast, because these guys have unlimited money. Once they see our success, then they're going to turn around and do it also. It's going to take them a year to make one. So we'll have a year to get a head start. Then we become an acquisition target versus somebody they're trying to put down. But don't forget, if we own the customers, If we get all the developers and we have these partnerships with the developers, we don't care what they do. It's like I tell people, you can't app a relationship. See, we have an app and a concierge. People might leave the app, but if you have a personal relationship with me and I have a key to your house and you know me and you trust me and you trust me around your things and around your children or whatever, that's different than just having a relationship with an app. So just the way we have this structured is going to give us a little bit more stickiness for our customers, I think. All right, so a lot to digest. So you guys work on that. Let's put our list together, and we'll get together on Thursday. Of course, I'm always here if you have questions. Welcome to the team, Ryan. Looking forward to working with you, getting to know you better. And if you have any questions, I'm Derek at derekautomotive.com, so you can text me or email me anytime. And you don't have to wait for a meeting to get your questions answered.
No, appreciate it.
Okay, guys. All right.
All right, guys.
I'll talk to you later, Ruben. All right.
All right, Derek, thank you.
All right, have a good one.